Hi there! Today, let's talk about digital resources and what they are and how you can share them with your students. So I know lots of people have been talking and creating and thinking about digital resources, and so what are they? Basically, a digital resource is something that you want to share with your students that is not meant to be printed. So it's probably an activity or something you want your students to do, but you don't need to worry about printing it. Typically, it'll be something like a Google slide presentation or a Google Draw, or even maybe a Google Doc, something probably within Google that you can use to share with your students. So first step is to make sure that you have a Google Drive account. It's free, so if you don't have one yet, make sure you go to drive.google.com and you create a free account. And then I'm going to show you how to share those digital resources that you saved to your Google Drive account with your students. Okay, a couple things to remember and to know before we get started with this whole Google resource thing. You want to make sure that you have a couple things taken care of. And number one, you want to make sure that you have a Google account. And some teachers might have a Google account associated with their school district. That'll work. You might have a personal Google account, and that's fine too. You can have both if you wanted to, but just make sure that you are able to sign in to your Google Drive account if you go to drive.google.com, and it's free to create an account, so you can do that. You also want to make sure that you have all of the, if you're working on an iPad or your students are going to be working on iPads or a device that you want to make sure that on the iPads, if you're working on iPads, they have the whole G Suite stuff downloaded. So that includes Google Drive. You'll want to make sure that's downloaded onto their iPads. You want to make sure that you have Google Slides. That's a big one. Google Docs. So you just want to make sure that you have Google Drive, Google Slides, and Google Docs all downloaded onto the student iPad. And then you also want to think, if your students are using this type of resource, they're going to need a Drive account. The students are as well. So some teachers are lucky and all of their students have Google Drive or Google accounts associated with their school district. So if your students are using those, that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, you're going to have to think of a way or how you want to work that. I've typically in the past, I created, when I taught second grade, I had a special Google Drive account that I created just for my students, so they all kind of signed into the same one. That might work. But just so you know, moving forward, your students are going to have to be signed into a Google Drive account. So just keep that in mind.